session for anyone who'd like to review. So I'd like to invite Hans to come into the sound and say hello. Okay, so you just need to unmute and then we can see and hear you clearly. So good morning.
Good morning. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. So you know we have BKs connected from South Africa, Spain, Hong Kong, Midlands, Wales, and Norwich, and Isle of Man. And I'm sure more will be connecting with us. And Prashant, Brother Prashant is here, you can probably just see. And Sister Sheila in the centre in Cambridge. So over to you, a warm welcome.
Okay, then let's start with 1 minute silence, please. Okay, 2 remarks before. My English is not the best, but I hope you can understand me. The second point is normally I make a PowerPoint presentation, but in this short time it makes no sense. It takes too much time. So first I will speak about the challenges in the learning process with my students. I was a teacher in a school for handicapped children with different handicaps. First of all, speech handicapped, behavior handicapped, learning handicapped, hyperactive, and so on. A lot of problems. In the first years, I said to myself, in this case, I couldn't bring Baba's knowledge into practical work, in the practical life. It's not possible, because in the home families, the problems were very often very problematic and deep, and one step in the school in front and one step at home back. But later I left this belief, and then in the last 20 years of my professional life, so in the 90s, I began to change my attitude. And first I tried to use different tools, like to get more peace, like progressive relaxation or different other programs, mental journeys and so on, but it was not effective enough. At least I came to the tool, which was my own tool since many years, to use meditation with the children. But I couldn't say meditation. It was not allowed in this school. It was a part of the Evangelic Church in Germany, and Evangelic Church was at this time most against sects and like Brahma Kumaris and so on. Also from the parents, but first of all from the leader of the school, it was not allowed. I also didn't ask, so I called it silence exercises. This was the main tool in the first time. Every day in the morning, 5 to 10 minutes, I met like Brahmins, Drishti, the students were sitting around me in the age of 11 to 14 in a half circle, and one by one I was looking into the eyes. I was not imagining the shining star in the middle, because I made the experience this was for the children too artificial. I was looking very natural into the pupils, and as I saw one by one into the pupils, I felt after a while immediately the soul contact, and also to the child and also to Baba. But there was time needed to going on in this process, but I felt very soon that it has an effect. After maybe a while, I felt by this meeting, soul meeting, qualities from the students. I was amazed about this, but I felt peace, sometimes laugh. Today's Murli, Baba's Murli today, the point of love. Then joy, what else? Humor was coming up. And so after a while, it seemed to be, I didn't know at this time what happened really. Maybe the point, the energy was jumping to the children, and they felt these qualities one by itself. Anyway, exactly, I didn't know what happened. Now I could explain it, but it would be another story. Anyway, the children experienced these qualities too. First of all, silence, love. They got trust from these experiences, and they opened. They opened her mind, they opened her heart, and so on. And this process was going on and was very helpful for transformation for the habits of the children. You know, many of them had big problems. If you have hyperactive children in front of you, they cannot sit, they cannot be cautious, they cannot concentrate, and so on, always like this on a chair. And but after a while, the children began to love these exercises. And then, of course, my consciousness of, I call this resource-orientated education, because the main point was to feel the qualities of the souls, and the qualities really came up. Some of the children could also express what they experienced, and they told, oh, I get power, oh, I get peace, my mind is not worry anymore, and so on. And sometimes parents, I had more times a year, I had meetings with the parents, and parents was also amazed, what do you do with my child? It's changing now. It's before the child said, I don't like to go to school, it's stressful, and anyway, learning is not good for me. But now they went by itself to the morning bus. They were coming from very far away. And one father said to me, what's happening by you? My child is going out 6:30 in the morning, is coming back at 5:30 p.m. in the evening, and she is not tired. What are you doing? You don't learn in the school? Oh, yes, we do. But the child said to the father, every day I get power from this teacher. Of course, it was Baba through the instrument. And such experience made the children, and said some of them could really very good understand what's going on, but they couldn't explain knowledge. It was not possible in these things, but it was no problem. The main point was that the children accepted the energy, Baba's energy, and that then transformation was going on. So this all was also going on by the normal education in German. My main part was German, to learn German. And especially in this main part of learning, I changed the whole system. You know, the children were, most of them were 6 years before in speech education. They had to learn with special programs to learn sentences, to learn words, and so on. And they had more than enough from these programs. Most of them felt these were stupid programs. And so I said to myself, I wouldn't like to make the same programs because they didn't like it. I made a very simple tool for these children which were here in the last year. They knew I only said sitting in front, who begins, and they knew they should tell stories one by one around the cycle. And these stories were funny stories. They were her own stories. They made in the beginning a lot of mistakes, but this was not a problem for me. The first point, to get joy with the speech, because since 6 years before, from the age of 2, of course, by learning, a child normally learns latest with 2 years the language, the mother language, but they experienced always criticism. Speak correctly, say like this, and they also get by this negative feelings, I am not good enough, I am not, I cannot learn, and so on. And to open this negative attitude to a positive attitude was the main goal, and joy, therefore, was one of the most important principles. And so also during the normal education, I was also teaching painting and singing and so on, music. And there was more and more coming humor and joy in all of this education. And of course, to see at least well done effects, in the first years, we need a lot of time. So this joyful learning around the cycle, we also tried to do the same principle by dictate. They first only used simple words. They made a lot of mistakes in the beginning. 60 words, they made 120 mistakes because they had all, we say in German, LRS, also a weakness in reading and writing. But fun was also here the main point, and they wrote funny stories, first small words, sentences, and at least also essays. If the children could write after 1 year, maybe, essays with a red line so that the reader could understand what they mean, it was a very good progress for the children, and I was very pleased. And it was going in all the years, in the last 20, 15 years, better and better and better. And at least the duration of this learning process was very short. In few months, the children could learn these things. And some of them, if I could send them, a very important point, I could send them in that 1 or 2 years back to the home school. Because it was usual at the school that these children, they had normally no chance for healing in this age. If healing in the age of 7, 8, 9, 10 years not happened, there was no chance. This was the usual belief of the teachers. There's no chance anymore to heal the children perfect. But I could send them all in the last 15 years, in the last 10 years, 15 years, to the normal school after 1 or 2 years. And so the school leader one time said to me, why don't you send children to the next classes, 7, 8, 9, 10? I said simple, they are ready. That's not possible. Oh yes, you can look in the papers. It's all written down, and I myself always ask if they have gone to the normal homeschool, how by the teacher, I asked by the teachers or by the parents, how it's going on. Never I got a negative feedback. Some of them were afterwards in normal school the best students in German language. It was amazing. Eh? But another point was also the atmosphere in the class. They come together. Every year, the half has gone into the homeschool, and the class was filled in with new students. And some of them, of course, they all had negative experiences. They couldn't speak, and they had no self-confidence, and therefore self-confidence was one of the topic tools they had to learn. Self-confidence as a personal training. And through these silence exercises and through a nearby permanently soul consciousness, every time if I was looking into somebody's eyes, I was very natural in soul consciousness, and Baba was giving the energy. And so to hold this line the whole time was very important, because the exercises in the beginning, 5 to 10 minutes, was not enough. And so also every time if somebody was somewhat was well done, of course it was wonderful for the child. She got a very good feedback. One example, there was a girl coming. She had no self-trust. She couldn't speak. She couldn't write. She couldn't read. She was like this. She didn't like to speak. And then after a while, maybe it was 8 months, we were painting. In this case, it was the face, the human face. Ne? I was explaining the face, in the middle the eyes, in the middle the nose, in the middle the mouth, and so on. Painting on the wall. Then I gave the paper, big paper, and then we were painting. I was sitting in the front. One time she was looking to me, what is she doing? Then I went to her place, and she was painting my face perfectly. Everybody could see that she painted me as my face. And I was enthusiastic. All other students were running to her, were also enthusiastic. And like this was a sign to change the attitude. She opened. I couldn't see how this opening was, but the result of the opening I saw. From this time onwards, she was learning very quickly, and after a few months, she was one of the best students in the class. And all this was the effect from this positive energy, from this loveful energy, peaceful energy. Of course, I myself, I will tell later a little bit more about this. And because for all this work as an instrument from Baba, it was very helpful that I had many years before very much love for silence. I didn't prefer to sit in Baba's room. I have Baba room here. This is official and Gita Pachala. Few years we had also at center. Dadi Chanki was also here for opening, and so we had a lot of programs every month in the winter session. Every month, minimum 250 people in a small city. There's only 50,000 people in this city, but very effective programs. Then basic course, 7 days course I was always giving, but later it was too much for me. I was alone. There is a teacher, And so then I was concentrated to my schoolwork and to transform the students and of course myself, because what was the point? In reality, I felt I was the student and the students were my teacher. Why? Because I could see, they were showing me the mirror. Every day in the beginning, every day, every morning, where disturbance from this student, from these students, permanently the teacher is forced to control the atmosphere. And then normally teachers show the finger to the student. But you know this, to bring this, it's very hard work to bring this figure to myself, what's jumping on in myself. To read outside, what's happening outside, to read inside, and this is the main point, to read inside what's happening with myself. If there is coming anger or something else, I don't know this English word, wood, aggression and so on, and then to observe myself, and then more and more to control this. Why did I do this? Or how did I do this? First of all, to give space, my reaction. Not press away, to give space. Oh, anger is coming. Then connection. And so in this process, more and more, these old sanskars were finished. And I saw the effect. I could very clear control what's going on. And this attention was also a main tool, attention, to have attention, what's going on in a practical way. If I saw my reaction was a transformed reaction, to realize this. On the other hand, also to realize if I couldn't control my reaction in a moment, to accept this first, to give space, then to transform. Also at home, I was meditating about this point, and to have a chit-chat with Baba, and that it more and more fits, that it would become better, these reactions. And so, but for Brahmins normally would be this very interesting point, all to make in the real life, in the practical life. So if somebody was coming up, anger or something else, to see, to accept, to give space. Oh, next time I must be more cautious. And so it was less and less and less my reaction, my negative reaction. And now the point is, in the same time, also the students changed. So this influence of Baba's energy changed the whole atmosphere. The children were combined with this and with these attitudes of peace and harmony and so on. And more they came into this field of positive energy, and they adopted this energy, and then it was going quicker and quicker, and what needed in the first years, maybe 1.5 years or 1 year, that was in the last years in a very short time, they changed her character, her personality. One example, I could tell more examples, but one of the most beautiful examples I can tell, after 2 weeks school beginning, the half class was new for me. And normally it needs minimum 1 year that a class a little bit is in a properly harmony. Most is fighting and so on, disturbance, but we went after 2 weeks to an excursion, I don't know the English word, we make a visit by the Stone Age village in the Lake of Constance, and the leader of the museum was guiding us at this day, and afterwards, and the students, I never know, normally a teacher has to say, don't do this, look, listen, and so on. Never, I had never to say this. And this afterwards was the guide was saying, I never have seen such a concentrated and peaceful class. What's going on? This should be handicapped children, it's not possible. Okay, I said, okay, but my light was in this moment not yet going on. Then afterwards we went from this museum to Meersburg. It's about 3 hours on the shore of the lake. There are stones, there is water, and so on. The children were playing with harmony, and so I was sitting here and I couldn't believe this. This harmony was so perfect. After 2 weeks, it was amazing for me. I was so happy. And this was the result now after 2 weeks. In the beginning of this transformation years, it needed months and 1 or 2 years. But now after 2 weeks, it was perfect. Children from then onwards went also they liked to go to school. They were happy to be in this classroom. And of course, if they had to go back, some of them had doubts that they can manage in the usual school. You know, I have real, sometimes very deep problems like autism. You know autism? Such children are very difficult to integrate because they are behind a curtain. And I remember one, he was a nice boy, but he didn't speak, he didn't take part by games, he did the work, yes, but the mother was very sorrowful that we can manage this problem, because in the school before he was not anymore acceptable in the normal school. And then I was very interested on his progress and to give help whenever it was necessary. And one by one, more and more smiling was coming up. That I could see he feels more and more well in this classroom. And then happened something wonderful. The other students were also looking to him. They integrated him. He was now a part of the group. He felt really well. He opened his heart. He opened his mind. Learning process was going on. And after 1 year, I could send him back into his home school. And normally such children had no chance in this school system. But Baba was showing here real wonders, so that I could say, the children and me too, we had holidays. I had real good paid holidays. Every day, you know, there was no difference anymore between private life and professional life. It was the same stage. It was the same happiness in myself. And afterwards, after going in retirement, I missed the school. I missed the children. But of course, I have to go on. And in every situation, maybe in the shop or where else, I can everywhere I can make service like this, to look into the eyes and to give good blessings to the souls. No? It's every time possible. And in this attitude I have anyway, because silence, I'm very much alone. I'm walking very much. I'm also going by bicycle. I try always to be in this silence. And so for this private point, I will also explain a little bit. At this time, I solved my blockages. And this is also a very important point. It's not usual in the Brahmin family to solve injuries, traumata. from 63 birds are sometimes very big. In a scale from 0 to 100, Brahms would need a scale up to 400. They have very big traumata, and many of them are not resolved. I will tell you my own experience. I was by doctors, German doctors, which developed a system. It's called psychosomatic energetics. Long time ago when I learned this, but I used it also by Brahmins. And then the doctor, the lady, found by myself, by the treatment, at the beginning, the biggest one. It had to do with thinking. At this time, you know, I was giving lectures here and somewhere else in Germany about the power of thoughts. And the doctor said to me, I have found your main conflict. False thinking. But it's not possible. It's one of my lectures. And so what she gave me as a reason for this conflict, I couldn't accept this, but I was thinking 3-4 weeks. Then I found out in previous lives, maybe I was a philosopher. I was fighting with words. Do you understand? In discussions, I could bring down the people with good arguments. And this tool was in the second half of the cycle, maybe for me very helpful. But, now the but, I couldn't reach the heart. But as I solved this conflict, at this time I took drops, special drops. As this conflict was solved, it was really amazing for me, the open heart. My heart was open, becoming more and more open. And one of the points was to trust my feelings. You know, I must make a small excursion. So speaking around, in Western countries, maybe in India culture, educated Brahmins, it is different. They get not enough love in her family, in her big family. But in Germany, many children are growing up with mother alone, with father alone, and so on. And if there are both parents, then both are working, have less time with the children, and so on. They miss this part of warm feelings. And it's very simple what I say now. In German, I could explain it better. But German needs heart education, Indians need mind education. Very simple. Therefore, Baba is always speaking from intellect, intellect, intellect. Indians, they need more structure, more clearness. Germans, Englishmen means need more this education. As I accepted then more and more my feelings, to observe my feelings. And then it was coming up, the intuition. Intuition is for me one of the main words, because I believe, it's my personal belief, the real deity intellect is intuition. You know, in the golden age, we don't discuss like today. We are automatically in the consciousness of intuition. It's very simple, no effort. And this I tried to make by intuition. Many decisions are made by intuition. Also, if there was the risk to make a mistake, I accepted this mistake. I could say, excuse me, please, if I made a mistake, but to fill in what's saying my intuition. And so this was very important for the learning process by the children. But if I come into the classroom, after making these silent exercises, I asked if the structures were properly met. I asked, what will we make today? Will we read a book? No, we would like to make a dictate. but normally everybody makes a bow around what he can properly, you know, but these children like this work. And so they could also decide what we make. Okay, I had to hold my main line, what they have to learn, but in reality, it was very simple. Children have to learn sometimes very many things they never need in her whole life later. No? There was a research, one said, from the high school, the knowledge of mathematics after 2 years has placed on a small pocket. No? And so what is really needed, and so this personal training is, for me anyway, was the main point. And then if this was clear, it was very easy for me to go ahead. And now at least I see time is slowly going to the end. I will tell about for me now, in the last years, more and more coming up, a goal which I don't know to call it. It's sometimes in spiritual gatherings, it's called awakening or flow or enlightenment. But what means that? And after deep experience in this point, I had maybe 10 words first, but I made it short. I only used at least 3 or 4 words. If it's going easy, I am in this stage. If it's going easy, equal what I make. If I clean the toilet or make a lecture. If it's going easy, second. If it's joyful, third. If it's efficient, less input, maximum output. And the last one is if it's going by itself, if it happens by itself. If it's coming from the inner pure self, this is the way to the golden age for me. And golden age is not falling suddenly down to us. We must create it now. And this, what I said, at least, are signs of golden age consciousness. By the way, I also had visions from the golden age, but it's another chapter. At least, which attitudes by meetings with people are very important. One example is to look into the eyes, to have a conversation, a short conversation, and very often suddenly was silence. Not by willing power from myself. It was coming automatically, silence, looking into the pupils. And this silence was sometimes so powerful and so loveful that from both came tears from the eyes. This I called soul touching. And this I felt is my way for service in the future. But there are other attitudes needed, only some examples to come into this stage of flow. First of all, presence. No valuations. Same eye level. I am a Brahmin, I give you knowledge. Please listen. God is teaching you. Doesn't function. Maybe in India, but not here. So we must be cautious what we make. Then to take for myself inner space. If there is space, no pressure. If there is space enough, the other person can entrance in this space. And this is also a wonderful tool. Sometimes for a period, I made the wonderful experience, this inner space, in this inner space, if I gave a problem in this inner space, it automatically vanished in connection with Baba, in remembrance with Baba. And so I was so happy about those simple tools, you know, no complication, very simple. Then afterwards, openness, the heart opens. If I'm open, the other person automatically opens too. Confidence is coming, trust is coming. Then of course I told it by speaking about the children, to see the resources, the qualities in the souls. Baba is anyway speaking every time in the Moli to see the qualities and not the mistakes. But it should become a very natural. Sometimes promise is a little bit difficult, but normally by children and so it's very easy. It's a training, it's like training in small steps. Also the principle of small steps is very important. And to see back, oh, this functions not, then to correct. And to see which line is effectful, this observation. Anyway, observation, attention and so on, very important words. Then soul touchings, and of course, anyway, always as much as possible soul consciousness, not only by Amrit Vela, not only by classes and so on. By me, it was since 25 years as I changed this from head to heart, I came automatically into this love for silence. I must not make effort to come into silence. It's like holiday without costs. I must not make a journey to make holidays. If I walk, if I sit, if I bicycle, if I cycle, it's automatically the silence here. Of course, I'm not perfect, but this way I could see is very helpful for me. What's for other Brahmins, they must look at what they can take from my points. But this is, I think so, is the main point, these are the main points from that what I would like to tell. Anyway, time is over now. If there are some questions, you can ask. But my understanding is not very good. I hope so. I can give an answer.
I'm sure you will. What really comes across is this love for silence, but also this opening of the heart and trust, and this need in the West, that kind of the really recognizing the different culture, and the practical stories are very, they're so vivid. Also this feeling of giving space to the feelings was very, very touching.
Yeah.
I'm going to invite, sorry, please continue.
Yeah, no, please.
I just want to say, if you would like to ask a question to Hans, please put your hand up. And we have around maybe 10 minutes or so for sharing. Prashant Bhai is here.
His experience with people. He had very clear experiences with students, and with the outside, the people that you come across, strangers, any experiences of this nature from them.
I couldn't understand properly.
So Prashant was just asking, you've heard your experiences with students, and because you have this role with them also, but wonder if you have would like to share your experiences with adults as well, and do you have anything you'd like to share on that?
Yeah. What does he mean exactly to share additional?
This big transformation.
Yeah. Can you hear well? Can you hear Prashant?
One of these things was gone. Now it's okay.
Like,
Once more, please.
So anything you would like to share about transformation in adults, like a big transformation that you spoke about with children? Any observations with others in the adult world?
Yeah, later anyway, understood more, also by studying spiritual researchers. There are some, maybe some of them, do you know, like Joe Dispenza and so on. And then I could understand what was happening. If the main point was that I am in a high level stage. And then later I understood there is a secret like swarm intelligence. If one who has a deep impact to a group, then the group, by a special level of power, is coming into this space of this energy. Baba also works like this. Is coming into this space, and I have not to say I'm the first. I am. You have all to. It's coming automatically, and so this. You know, there are some. Everybody of us have sometimes observed if birds in the sky change their direction immediately. Fishes also. And this has to do with these pictures, this swarm intelligence. Do you understand what I mean?
Swarm intelligence, swarm intelligence, say, like a herd intelligence.
And so I felt the children automatically, because the energy was, Baba's energy was attractive. And they automatically came into this energy. And this was the reason that they immediately, at least, changed very soon. In 2-3 weeks, they changed totally. Not her speech mistakes. That was longer duration, but her attitude changed. Her attitude changed immediately, and this was real a wonder.
Thank you so much. I would like to invite Kaushik to maybe in brief, you have a question or comment.
I myself?
Yeah, okay, Kaushik, you can unmute.
Yeah, very inspiring and very valuable, you know, your work and your experiences they come across as a brother.
Thank you.
You know, your work, as you know, you in the schools, was it acknowledged, and was it sort of by other teachers? You know, did they learn anything from, you know, what you were doing, so that they could be continuing?
I'm now retired. I'm retired.
But while you were doing it, was it recognized by other teachers, the value, the value of the work?
Yes, it's a very interesting question. In 40 years of this school, I was the only one who was interested in spirituality. Also the colleagues, sometimes we were 2 in the classroom. Also the colleagues, they were looking, what is he doing and so on, but they were not really interested. Of course, some people, spiritual people, asked me, why did you not teach this to other teachers? But then, in this case, there is needed the knowledge from Baba. There is needed to become a Brahmin. And so, therefore, never, I had a lot of lectures in the city here. And I never saw a colleague. Everybody could read in the newspaper, there's the lecture, like Mike George was here, Anthony was here, Daddy Jangi was here, and so on. I always wrote it before in the newspapers, no colleague was coming, so there was no interest. I was the only one. This was my in the first time, it was my problem, because I had no possibility to share experiences. Of course, I went sometimes to Frankfurt, to Zurich, or to Munich, and to share with other Brahmins, but in general, I was growing up alone as a Brahmin, and so I had to find my own way of transformation.
It sounds like it's still got a lot of value, you know, if it's put
Yeah,
in other words, you know, sort
the
of.
first time I was interested in this group, living values. But I am so open to say what my impression was. Living values in school in 1 hour a week, like religion, to teach religion. Very soon I understood it's not my way. To practice this every minute during the week, every day. Not only it should be a permanently attitude. And so this was my way to bring it into a permanently, the basic of the whole education was at least Baba's knowledge without expression the knowledge. I couldn't express the knowledge to the children. Of course, some of them were meditating at home because they liked meditation. Parents were telling me, but this was not my goal because I had to be very cautious, not to tell him too much, because otherwise I would get problems, because in the first part I told that this was a school of the Evangelical Church and it was most against Brahma Kumaris and such groups. But you know, the main point is the practical transformation together. I was not the big man who makes a show. I was a part of this learning process like the children.
Excellent, that's very nice, and actually answers another question that Felisa had, so thank you. And Kanti Ben would like to ask, so you can unmute, Kanti.
Om Shanti, brother, lovely brother. How old is the body?
73.
And how long have you been with Baba?
Yeah, my spiritual birth was 82, but real the knowledge I got 84 in a script, in a 7 days course script.
No, what I mean is how many years you have been with Baba? How many years?
38 years.
Wow. Very good. Lovely to see you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Also lovely to see you. I know you. Maybe
yes.
From Maraban.
From Germany. Yes. I came round with Jayanti Ben and did a tour with the brother. I can't remember his name now.
Yeah. Okay. Bye.
And would anyone else like to ask? Maybe have a couple more minutes, feel free.
Can I mention about Georgie? Just
Sister Sheila has something to share from Cambridge. You can speak. Yeah.
You can change the.
Yeah. Hello. I was just mentioning that Sister Georgina in UK, she did prison service and did much the same thing as you. Transformed the whole prison, not just the people she was seeing. Yes.
Very good.
Until I went there a year later, and they gave you drishti, and she never saw them as prisoners. She had to see them as souls, and one became a Brahmin, and that drew all the rest to that one. Yes.
Very good. Thank you.
It was very similar. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pleased every time if I see that the practical application functions by the Brahmins. No? It's time now. It's time.
Yeah. I think I really like this, everything coming from joy, because the soul is here for the purpose of joy, and learning should be in that context and everything. So without Baba's knowledge, things get so heavy, and out of context. So it's really nice. We can apply this in wherever we're working and whoever we're interacting with. It's like that foundation of first peace, and then trust and love. And then, of course, it's that natural joy of the soul. It's just nice to see how it's played out in a practical way. And yeah, as you say, now is the time. And maybe it's interesting, isn't it, that it's like some want to go for it, but they need to be understanding Baba to really get the magic.
So now, during your speaking, I felt some qualities from you.
Oh, if you spot it, you must have it.
Not always, but sometimes it's coming automatically. No? Good qualities.
That's good, just to check.
Yeah, do you also have the similar, do you experiment at a distance? And just as you had this results in a gathering with students, have you experimented from a distance, some friend or some people you know, but they are in different city? And have you followed up if there is any change?
Of course, it's all is coming spontaneously. This spontaneously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Spontaneity.
It's anything. I don't plan a lot. I'm a free man, and so what's coming is okay. So, by example, by meeting personally with people, it's coming or it's coming not, but very often it's coming. And every morning I walk 1 hour. Every morning with 6 Nordic walking, and then I meet people, and I can say with everybody, there is only seldom not, with everybody is soul contact, very short, but it's a very good feeling. And so the people then are very friendly, greeting, and so, and like this is very simple, but it's usual for me. I have also contact with Russian sisters and brothers, and so especially one sister, sometimes we meditate together, and we feel very close without, also with this distance. It's very possible. I'm more and more going into this subtle levels, because I feel it's very important to become more and more settled in all what I do. And so these are helpful trainings too, to meditate with St. Petersburg and so on. And if the sister has time, she calls me afterwards, but it's very pure, no attachment, nothing. It's very important anyway, all by the students, no attachment. And so in every case, but you know, Baba teach this always, no? To be the detached observer. One time I painted a picture. There was a screen and a projector, and there was an observer sitting on a chair, but he was, in the same time, he was the actor of two. They were on the line, showing on the line. And then I was this time very interested to see what means flow reality, what means enlightenment. And so from somebody I heard enlightenment, this is the soul is the screen, the empty screen, equal what's going on the screen on. Ne? And on the other hand, but I felt it's not all. Who am I? Was my question coming again. The screen, yes, but I'm the light in the projector. And so that whatever we see, like now the screen on this computer is shining on my mind. The soul is subtle, is not material, and the brain is material, and it's coming up. Also a science, I was busy with science, it's called, it has different names. Constructivism. The brain constructs all what she sees. You see the world different from my view. No? And so these thoughts are leading me a little bit more and more to this, to understand the enlightenment, but really with these words of duality, we cannot describe it. It's behind these words. No? But I remember now more and more, you was telling about these things more in seminars in Munich and by the retreats. At this time, I couldn't really understand what you mean, but now I understand you. I'm very pleased about this realization, because it's very important what you teach.
So Kaushik has typed on the chat, please come to Wales soon, and we'll extend that to please come to Cambridge also when when it's possible in the drama, when it's natural and it's meant to be. There's a very warm welcome from the family here.
So now there is easier transportation between. There is no 2 weeks.
No quarantine,
No
Prashant's
quarantine.
saying, so it's easy now.
Between Germany and this country, it is easy traveling.
Yeah. And I think no quarantine for Wales either, so
Yeah.
you should be okay. So thank you for your time, and also
so much that you gave me the chance to connect with the Cambridge family. I'm happy because it's one of the seldom possibilities. Of course, I make in German sometimes lectures, but first time now on Zoom with computer. No?
really well,
Yes.
very natural, and the English was very clear, by the way.
Yes, very good.
We should practice our German here, I think.
Thank you so much.
We appreciate. So maybe we could share a couple of moments of silence with you before we finish.
Thank you. Yes, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Please, can you send me the record too?
Yes, we'll post it to you.
So,
Oh, Shanti.
all the best for all of you in Baba's remembrance. Thank you.
You too.
Thank you for
Shanti.
joining at short notice.
And if anyone wants to take their undo their camera and wave, it would be nice. Can I allow you to unmute? You can say bye bye.
I'm really happy. Yes.
Om Shanti. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.